talk sports.
We are Buffalo. We are Sports Zone.
From the fighting city of Philadelphia, it's time for Braves baseball. Last night, the Braves won in knockout fashion. They hit a couple of homers. They'd love to do the same tonight in the middle game of 3. We join you on a perfect night from Citizens Bank Park. Hector Olivera hit his first big league homer, drove in 4 runs. Freddie Freeman went deep 2. And the Braves snapped their 12-game losing streak here last night. Let's see if Atlanta can make it 2 in a row in the positive column as Ryan Weber gets the ball for Atlanta. Joe, the 15th man to make his big league debut, is on the hill tonight.
I'm excited to watch this guy pitch because I noticed early on this season in Double-A, he had great numbers in terms of walks to innings pitched. It started in Mississippi this year, and all told, between Double-A and Triple-A, he threw 99-plus innings and only walked 10 batters. You're seeing a good curveball, fastball, curveball, changeup, and good poise. Everybody talks about how he has a presence on the mound. Not a huge guy, 22nd-round draft pick, but good numbers this year. He's earned a chance to make this spot start here in the big leagues. I'm anxious to see him work.
Excited to see kids make their big league debuts, but boy, he makes me feel old. He looks like he's about 15 years old. Let's see what he does. It's game 2, Braves and Phillies from the Bank Vault in Philadelphia after this.
Your Atlanta area Mazda dealers. Driving matters.
Swing and a drive. That's hammered deep toward left center field. Hector Olivera's first big league homer has come in Philadelphia. Strike 3, and that's your ball game. Look at the Braves dugout. Woohoo! Fun night in Philadelphia. It's been a long time since we've shaken hands. And the Braves would love to shake hands again tonight. Super game last night. Game 1 of the series. Atlanta won it 7-2. Williams Perez pitched to beauty. No walks, 7 strikeouts in his 7 innings of work, and the Braves bats came to life. Hector Oliveira, a memorable night, and Freddie Freeman got in on the fun, Joe, with a first inning homer 2.
And the guys in the dugout are having a great time with the Philly fanatic. They stole his keys, I believe, to his scooter, and now they're making him do the tomahawk chop to get his keys back. They want him to do it 5 times.
And Chris Van Zant's filming it for posterity, too. The police won't help the fanatic. He is on his own.
You know who I am?
And he got stuck too.
Great start to his night.
He is simply the best. So a fun start to the night for the Braves, who line up this way on the Academy Sports and Outdoors starting lineup. Hector Oliveira back in the second spot. Freeman third. Przinsky cleans up. Nick Swisher, Peterson, Simmons, Michael Bourne in center again, and Ryan Weber makes his major league debut against Aaron Nola.
This guy's only making his 10th big league start. Aaron Nola out of LSU was their first-round pick last year. In 2014, he made a start against the Braves on August 1st, got a ton of runs, and gave up only 2 himself in 5 innings. Both of those runs came in the first inning, and one was a leadoff homer by Nick Markakis. After that, he retired 14 of the last 16 he faced after the first inning. He is a fastball, curveball, changeup pitcher, but his changeup is still a work in progress. Good curveball. Fastball sits 89 to 92. 6'2", 200 pounds out of Baton Rouge.
Different look for the Phillies tonight. We will not see Freddie Galvis in the game. Instead, it's Andres Blanco who gets the start at shortstop. Cody Ashe is the third baseman. Brian Bogusevic, after his pinch hit homer last night, gets the start in left field tonight. Aaron Altair made a great catch. He's in right. Herrera's in center. Cameron Rupp is behind the plate. Of course, Ryan Howard, longtime Braves killer, is the man at first base. Blanco's had a good year at the plate. We'll see what he does in the field tonight as Nola versus Markakis gets things started in game 2 tonight. Another perfect baseball evening, and it should favor the hitters. The wind is blowing straight out towards center on this warm, windy night in Philly. Nick Markakis hit his second home run of the season on August the 1st against Aaron Nola. It was a leadoff shot. Let's see what he has in store tonight in the top of the first. .89 degrees tonight. And Nick fouls it straight back. And the count even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Let's flash back to August 1st.
Straightaway center, hit it into the Phillies bullpen. I mean, they hadn't even taken their seats out there yet, so heads up. Another one around, Nick.
And cued off the Braves dugout facing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nick had 2 hits last night, his 45th multi-hit game of the year. And he's 4th in the National League overall in hits, just 13 behind D. Gordon of the Marlins. And way up and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nola is coming off his worst start, however, against the Mets. Only 4 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs allowed. He had been on a pretty good streak prior to that. Gave up a couple of home runs, too.
And he just struck out Markakis to start the night.
Wait a minute. It's supposed to hit in that box if it's a strike, right?
That's the theory.
I mean, that technology shows us that. That pitch wasn't anywhere near the plate. changeup that he dropped down on, and even Rupp couldn't frame it.
And I'm assuming the Fox Tracks is accurate. Not a single one of those pitches was a strike in the entire sequence. Yet Markakis was caught looking. So it's a pitcher's strike zone, it appears, tonight. Hitters had best be aware as Hector Oliveira digs in. What a night he had to experience last night, Joe. 4 RBIs in his first major league homer.
Big night, big double earlier in the game to put the Braves on top. It was on the home run was on a curveball, and it was the second of 2 curveballs in a row. He timed it perfectly.
He might get another one here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He did, and he missed it. Nola's got back-to-back strikeouts to start the game. $16 homers for Freddie Freeman, the Braves' third-place hitter. 52 knocked in. And a 2-run shot gave Williams Perez some early inning breathing room. Hits it into the shift, and it's lined to Ryan Howard. He plays it off the glove, and he wins the race to the bag. Nola has a 1-2-3 top of the first. Weber debuts when we come back. Make his major league debut after this run in the Braves minor leagues this year.
AA and AAA combined 6-5 with a 2.35 ERA and just a 2.28 average against him. Great numbers and only 10 walks in 99 2/3 innings. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Well, you know that he's going to be nervous and rattled a little bit, so that get that first pitch out of the way, the first batter, and the first inning, and then try to calm down, and then just a baseball game. And A.J. Pierzynski is going to be the leader for him tonight.
And ball 1 is taken low by Cesar Hernandez, riding an 8-game hitting streak for the Phillies. Braves have used 59 different players this year. And a slow roller toward first. Freeman's got it. Pitcher to the bag, won the race, and Weber has retired his first major league hitter. 1 down.
So he's got 2 of those 3 out of the way already.
There you go.
He gets a lot of ground balls, good sinker. And what I'm curious about and want to watch is this is one of the first guys that have been called up as a pitcher, Chip. You know, he's not a flamethrower, you know, throwing 95, 97 miles an hour. He's a pitcher, and I'm anxious to see him work.
We talked with John Capalella last night, the Braves assistant GM, and the comparison he made was, I think, a positive one. He said he's a poor man's Chris Medlin, where he moves the ball around.
And that's a very nice comparison.
So Odubel Herrera is the batter. He was hitless last night, batting .299 for the year. He's having a terrific rookie season for the Phillies. He's racked up 126 hits. Doesn't appear like he throws anything straight.
That's a nice thing.
Pop fly foul. It's now 2 balls, 2 strikes to Odubel Herrera.
And that's probably about where he will top out tonight. He's around 90, maybe 91. But again, it's all about location for him with that movement and his curveball.
That was low, full count. Herrera really takes his time getting set in the box. Payoff is outside, ball 4. Fast man aboard. A 1-out walk for Odubel Herrera. Here's the rest of the Phillies lineup. Aaron Altair is their third place hitter. He made a spectacular catch here last night. He's been an extra base hitting machine in his first weeks with the Phillies. You've got Howard, Blanco, Bogasevich, Rupp, Ashe, and Nola, the bottom part of the attack. That's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Altair has 15 hits. 9 of them are for extras. And a fly ball softly hit to right. Plenty of room for Markakis. He's got that. And there's the second out. As Joe said, he gets a lot of ground balls, so the infielders hope to be on their toes tonight. Freeman, Peterson, Simmons, and Oliveira from first to third. AJ's behind the plate. Markakis born in Swisher right to left in the Atlanta outfield. And here's Ryan Howard. A rare hitless game for Ryan Howard against the Braves last night. He was 0 for 4. "21 homers for Howard again this year. He's knocked in 72. 9 seasons of 20 or more homers for the slugging Philly first baseman. And that's into the second deck foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The Braves with their usual shift against him too, given his desire to pull the ball. Crazy numbers against Atlanta in his career.
Runner goes, pitch low, throw to second is going to be in time, and A.J. Pierzynski throws out Odubel Herrera, and the Phillies are out of luck in the bottom of the first inning. Ryan Weber's first big league inning off to a terrific start. No score.
price every day.
Welcome to the big leagues, Ryan Weber. He's through his first major league inning.
Got that first key done. Got any problem? Got a little help from AJ. AJ's got a little hitting streak working of his own. 6 straight.
Kept that alive last night with a 9th inning single. Now 29 hits away from 2,000. And he pops the first pitch up. Yeah, it's out to second base, and an easy grab for Cesar Hernandez. Nola's retired the first 4 in order, and 1 away for Nick Swisher.
Last night, before his base hit, AJ had a fly to right and 3 infield pop-ups, 1 in foul territory. So that's a 4th.
Nick Swisher's done nice work for the Braves. And takes a strike. Phillies really need Nola to hit. They are going to be looking for pitching.
I mean, hit in terms of be a star.
Be a success, yes. Yeah, thank you. If not a star, certainly a solid, dependable 30 start a year guy for them. Cliff Lee probably won't come back here. Cole Hamels, of course, has been traded. They have a very young staff with the exception of Aaron Harang. And as you mentioned, Joe, he was just drafted last year and he's already made it to the big league club where he's won 5 of his first 7 decisions. One-two pitch, and that's inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's his hook, and it's a good one. He was the 7th player taken in the draft in 14.
And a base hit the other way for Swisher. First hit for either club tonight. And it continues to swing the bat well for the Braves, and that'll bring up Jace Peterson, who had been struggling mightily until last night. He and Andrelton Simmons both had 3-hit games. And they hit back-to-back again in the lineup tonight.
And they both needed him. Jace had dropped to 236. He had hit only $173 over his last 28 games. So that was a nice comeback last night. And Andrelton snapped out of an 0 for 19 with his big night.
That's downstairs. Last night's game for Jason Andrelton, the first time this year in which the Braves' second baseman and shortstop combined to produce as many as 6 hits. With the previous 5 games, their middle infield had 1 hit and 40 at bats. Double play ball hit toward Blanco. There's 1, there's 2, double play. Nola got it on the ground. And Swisher and the Braves are erased in the second inning. Ryan Howard back to the box in a scoreless game. South Data Strong fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. Ryan Howard was the man in the batter's box when Odubel Herrera was thrown out trying to steal second base, so he'll get a second look at Ryan Weber, who's debuting in the big leagues tonight. Again, the Braves have the shift. And Howard slices that one into the crowd, if you want to call it that. Strike one.
Yeah, they're the smallest crowd in stadium history last night.
Just over 15,000 fans here. Boy, a far cry from just a few years ago when they had an incredible sellout streak. I don't remember what the number was. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Almost every ticket sold every night for the Phillies. Around 260 games were told of consecutive sellouts.
Weber's arm action's kind of short. You know, there's no real lengthy reach back. That ball is moving.
Like that. For Ryan Howard, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Freeman, nice diving stop to his right. He'll take care of Ryan Howard. And those plays are even.
Yeah, and he stepped on the bag like, all right, take that. Ryan had caught the shot off Freeman's bat to start the first, or in the first inning.
So here's Andres Blanco. Blanco at 304 for the year, making his 34th start of the season. He gives Freddie Galvis the night off. Tell you what, between Galvis and Blanco and Cesar Hernandez, that's a nice 3-man rotation for the Phillies, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just missed. Ball 2. Odubel Herrera still a work in progress in the outfield as the Phillies center fielder. But a lot of youth, a lot of speed amongst those 4 players. And another chance for Freeman. You heard AJ scream, "Get over," and Weber did. And a ground ball out. That's 3 of them for Ryan tonight. 2 quick outs for Brian Bogusevic.
If it makes Ryan feel any better, no matter what happens tonight in the Braves notes this evening, he's already penciled in as the starter on Sunday at Turner Field against the Mets. So I referred to a spot start earlier. Not necessarily the case when he's already plugged in for 2.
Yeah, Manny Banuelos might get another start for Atlanta. There's some talk that Matt Whistler might remain in the bullpen. Another turn through for Atlanta. We'll see how that works itself out. Braves' next opponent will be the Mets. Of course, the Mets are in action in Washington, and they've got a wild game going in the 2nd inning already. As Brian Bogusevic takes a strike, it's even 1-1. Bogusevic last night made his first big league plate appearance in September 29th, 2013. And he made the most of it. He hit a home run.
And it was a line shot rocket out of here. He had a good year at Lehigh Valley, so he might know a little bit about Ryan Weber. 296 at Lehigh Valley, 12 homers, 57 driven in, 24 stolen bases.
Bounce foul behind the plate, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. He might turn out to be a nice piece for the Phillies going forward. Remember, they had a guy named Greg Dobbs here. They had a guy named Matt Stairs here who terrorized pitchers late in games as left-hand pinch hit specialists. Maybe that's something Bogusevic can do. That's outside, full count. Down the right field line, it is foul. And the count's still full.
If you're wondering about long balls against Ryan Weber, he gave up 1 all year long to a left-hander, 7 to right-handers, 8 total in his 100 innings.
Another ground ball between Hop, handled by Peterson, and Bogusevic is retired by a quarter step. Weber has a perfect second. He's coming to the plate as we go to the third.
Major league debut in 1978. Most recognized mascot in the world. Definitely worth the price of admission. Let's make it happen. Introductions. Ready? Bruce Bochy. Okay, large hat size. All right, Carlos Ruiz. The jockey. All right, one of my favorites, Ryan Howard. You've got him down. Hey, and last but not least, your favorite. I think that's Marlon Byrd right there. Yes, Marlon Byrd. My career is over, but I appreciate the shout out. One of the best in baseball, guys. Everybody comes out not just to see the Phils, but to see the Fanatic too.
Well done, Paul.
The Fanatic is great. He's worth the price of admission alone. 1-1 pitch is fouled back by Simmons. 1 ball, 2 strikes versus Aaron Nola, who's got a couple of scoreless innings under his belt tonight. Nola was the National Pitcher of the Year. Had 2 fantastic seasons at LSU. 12-1 as a sophomore, 11-1 as a junior with the Tigers. You can understand why he was a very high draft selection by the Phillies.
I think he was twice the SEC Pitcher of the Year, which is a rarity. Hometown boy for LSU right there in Baton Rouge. And he's got good size. He's going to get a little bigger, 6'2", 200 pounds.
Little pop into shallow center. That's going to get down for Andrelton Simmons. A 3-hit night last night and a 3rd inning leadoff single.
Well, the guy following him, Michael Bourne, would like to know, how do you do that? How do you get a bloop? Because he can't buy a hit. The harder he hits it, the better catches they make.
Michael 8 for 62 against Atlanta, but if you charted hard outs, he's the guy that has suffered the worst luck. Strike one.
Nola's got a little bit of a sinker working too, but it doesn't have near the action that Ryan Weber has so far tonight.
Off the plate. So I take a look at Aaron Nola from a distance. When he takes that stretch position, you see the scruffy beard, you see the cap. Looks a little like Roy Halladay. Much more youthful Roy Halladay. 2-1 count. And that's ball three.
It's a shame that Roy's career came to kind of an abrupt end with his injury problems.
And Michael takes a walk. There's a promising start. 2 on, nobody out. Let's see if Ryan Weber can lay down a bunt. Lions all a 6'1", 170 pounds out of St. Petersburg, Florida.
I don't know if he can bunt or not. We're about to find out, but I hear he can play golf. Scratch golfer. Dennis Llewellyn, his pitching coach at Mississippi, was filling me in on that today. And then as it turned out, when I get to the ballpark, a lot of the Phillies folks Phillies train in Clearwater, Florida, tell me that Ryan worked in a pro shop at a golf course at Bel Air Country Club in Clearwater, so they all got to know him there.
1 ball, no strikes, and fouled away. It's now an even count. You mentioned Mississippi. Their game yesterday was rained out. They fell 1 game shy of a tie for first place in the Southern League's Southern Division for the second half. But Mississippi overall 69 and 67 this year. They did a great job. One ball, one strike.
Got to get that bat out front, Ryan. See how he kind of pulled it back and then poked at it. Just leave it out there, leave it out front. Try it one more time.
Snap throw back to second. Ball's into center field. Andrelton Simmons scrambles up. He's going to head to third, and all hands are going to be safe.
Way to get him over, Ryan.
So Weber's called out on strikes on the bunt attempt. The ball in the dirt and a bad throw by Cameron Rupp. And his 4th error puts Simmons at third, Bourne at second, and the top of the order with 1 out.
That was a great read by Andrelton because the ball came down equidistant from everybody, and Michael Bourne was already headed to second base. So a great break there when Weber struck out.
Markakis was called out on a questionable third strike his first time up. The Braves have a chance to strike first here in the third inning.
Here's that good hook. It started in and kept biting in.
And just like that, it's 0-2. And he got him with it. Big out for Aaron Nola. He struck out Markakis, and now Oliveira's coming up, and he too was victimized by the curveball.
Essentially the same pitch, biting down and in. Back foot breaking ball. Doctor saying you can even bounce it up here if you want.
Fouled away, strike one. Braves had a rare night last night, hitting all those home runs. But it's this situation that has really plagued the club after the All-Star break. Hitting with runners in scoring position, the Braves are dead last in average since the All-Star game. Hitting just .226 as a team.
4 for 10 last night, runners in scoring position. That was like a big outbreak.
Now Nola's got him set up. It's 0-2.
Well, it'd be foolish to throw him a fastball. Aaron Harang tried to sneak a fastball by him when he hit the double last night. Couldn't get it by him after he'd looked really bad on breaking balls his first 2 times up.
Fly ball center. Dubal Herrera broke in. Now has to scramble back, and he makes the play. And that retires the side. The Braves had him at second and third with one out. Can't break through. We're still scoreless in Philly. Braves fans, we're just 2 days away from Julio Teheran bobblehead night. If you haven't gotten your ticket, now's the time. The first 20,000 fans at Turner Field get a bobblehead featuring Braves starter Julio Teheran, brought to you by Grady Hospital. It's the final bobblehead giveaway of the 2015 season. Get your tickets now online at Braves.com. Cameron Rupp leads off for the Fightins. Cody Ashe, then Aaron Nola.
That's into the seats and out of play. And quickly 0-2. Freeman at first makes the grab and steps on the bag for out number 1. Don't know if there are any pitch limitations for Weber tonight. His last start, Joe, 94 pitches over 5 innings. He seems to be stretched out.
I think I read somewhere where 6 innings was his longest outing so far of the year. What struck me odd was that 38 outings in the minor leagues, only 9 starts. I didn't realize he'd worked mostly out of the bullpen.
A lot of ground balls, a lot of strikes. And to this point, the Phillies don't have a hit. Cody Ashe's the batter. Ashe was the final out of the game last night.
Well, you gotta love the movement you're seeing on these pitches. He's changing speeds. He's mixing in a changeup along with his curveball.
Play foul to Ashe, who's been moved back to third base by the Phillies. Michael Franco got hit on the wrist against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hasn't played since. He was supposed to hit the ball off the tee today and gauge whether or not the wrist was feeling any more discomfort. He said if it did, it's probably done for the year. And that's over the inside corner. That pitch backed up. That's his first strikeout.
Who'd that look like?
Yep.
AJ, good for him. Threw the ball out. Got a new baseball even on the strikeout for that young man's trophy case. Watch this ball back up. I mean, really back up. It didn't just come across the inside corner, but it froze Ashe up to his knees on a fastball.
Nola to first, fair ball, easy play, inning over, and you can't pitch any better than Ryan Weber has through 3 hitless innings. Now the Braves go back to work in the 4th.
Nothing locked in a pitcher's duel here with Aaron Nola. Guys, I'm crazy impressed with this guy. It's very hard to make your major league debut and just breathe and pitch, let alone hit your spots with incredible movement. But here's what's so crazy to me. I'm sitting here on the side, and he just looks like he's nice and easy throwing a bullpen. Not trying to overdo it. Yes, he's not physically imposing, but he's throwing the ball 89 to 93 miles an hour. The movement is as good as anybody that I've seen this year, and the Phillies, first time through, flat out can't touch it.
They haven't to this point as far as the hits are concerned, Paul. None allowed by Weber. One base runner. That was erased on a caught stealing. Odubel Herrera was that man in the opening inning tonight. And now we'll see if Freddie Freeman, A.J. Pierzynski, and Nick Swisher can give him a lead.
Well, like Paul said, one of the things we've been told about Ryan was his presence on the mound and his poise, and we have seen that already too.
Shift on for Freddie Freeman, just like the Braves do for Ryan Howard. And Nola got ahead, strike one. In the air to left. And that's going to be playable for Bogusevic. He makes the grab, and Freeman's out number one.
Freddie's squaring up a lot of balls with the barrel right now. So is Swisher. Swisher's barreling up everything.
AJ popped out on the first pitch he saw tonight from Aaron Nola. And that's in for a strike. Mets are in Washington tonight. Nationals lead 3-1 in the third inning. The Dark Knight, Matt Harvey, gave up a couple of runs in the first. And A.J. drops one into right field for a base hit. A one-out single for the Braves catcher gives him a 7-game hitting streak. And Nola has to go to the stretch with Swisher coming up.
Oh, got one up. Rupp couldn't find it. Rupp was looking all over the place. Didn't know where it went. Just watching Nola warm up. He does that a couple, 3 times between innings when he's warming up. One gets away from him and he leaves it up high that Rupp's got to reach or chase, keep it from getting by him.
Swing and a fly ball hit for the gap in right center, but Herrera is going to get there. Swisher squared that one up, but Odubel Herrera caught it. 2 outs. And AJ's back at first base in the 4th inning for Chase Peterson.
Herrera is in his first year of playing center field. He had been an infielder, as you said last night, Chip, and he'll probably begin to play shallow at one point when he gets confidence in his ability to go back. But right now he plays awfully deep.
Easier to come in than go back.
It is easier to come in, and you know the worst thing an outfielder thinks can happen to him is for a ball to be hit over his head. But for him, it makes it easy to go to the gap and just cuts across, run balls down like Swisher just hit.
Well, he will forever be a hero in Philadelphia. Remember Cole Hamels' no-hitter in Chicago, the miraculous 27th out catch in center that he made for the now Texas Ranger left-hander Cole Hamels. 1 ball, 1 strike. See that a lot, though. Good athletes move to the outfield. There's not a spot for him on the infield. And as we said, the Phillies like Hernandez. They like Galvis. They like Blanco. Chance for Herrera to play every day in the outfield. Learning on the job. And slow roller. Ryan Howard's got it. Flip to the pitcher covering. And that's that for Atlanta in the 4th. Top of the order coming up for the Phillies. Still scoreless. State in 1968, stole his first big league base. He was a pinch runner and stole home while running for Joe Torre as the Braves beat the Astros 4-1, and Ralph Garr remembers those base stealing days with great affection.
Dusty Baker could really run, and Sonny Jackson could really run. So we had some guys. Felix Mignon was a good runner, too. So we had some guys could really run and knew how to run, and that made the big difference there.
Love hearing Ralph Garr talk about his days as a Brave, and I loved what he just said there. Speed's one thing, but knowing how to use it is an altogether different thing.
Yeah, they knew how to run, knew when to use it.
This guy knows how to run. He knows how to hit, too. Cesar Hernandez has hit safely in 8 straight. He's 0 for 1 tonight as Weber begins his second time through the Phillies batting order. He's faced the minimum through 3. And that's inside the bag, fair, and headed for right field. A fan reaches over the railing, and that's a huge break for Atlanta. That's going to be a 2-base hit. And if that fan had left that ball alone, there was nobody close. Hernandez might have ended up at third base. So that's the first Phillies hit.
Tried to get that pitch in, make him give up on it. He didn't. That man did the Braves a favor. And if you're Jace Peterson, you've got to know that to protect the corner, Nick Markakis has got to head toward the corner on that ball down the line. And Jace Peterson's got to be prepared to run over and get that ball if it hits the wall, as it did. Everybody can wave to that fan. Hope you enjoyed the game.
First runner in scoring position for the Phillies tonight. Here's Herrera, who walked and was thrown out trying to steal. And he lays down a bunt. That is a foul ball. And strike 1 for Herrera. Mentioned his 126 hits. That's second to Matt Duffy of the Giants.
He's up there in the rankings of all the rookies, but the guys that are ahead of him are all the same guy or two, whether it's Chris Bryant or Duffy. So his chances of winning the Rookie of the Year, while strong, there's other guys that are putting up outstanding numbers.
I wonder how many pairs of uniform pants he goes through a year.
You'd never seen that before?
No, I've not.
That's a big high school thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, non-athlete, you know.
No, I was thinking high schoolers do it. I'm not sure how many up here do it, but
yeah, I've never seen that before. So you see the rookie ranks for Herrera, but look at that. He's got the pants underneath the spikes. Those get torn up every night. And a base hit to left. Hernandez around third. The Phillies will play it station to station. Another hit on an 0-2 pitch allowed by a young Brave starter. And now Weber has his first bit of trouble. First and third, nobody out.
Getting the movement, but you got to get it down. That's the first real mistake he's made.
Here's a spot where you can live with one. If you can get a ground ball, you'll trade the run for a double play. Let's see if Altair cooperates.
He was aggressive last night on the first pitch.
And floated in for a strike. Altair drove in a run with a sac fly last night. And he's going to hit into a double play here. So it's 1-0 Philadelphia. Weber got the ground ball he needed. Hernandez scores the game's first run. It's 1-0 Phillies.
See AJ. AJ walked halfway to the mound, was clapping his glove like, good job. Got the double play ball. Give up one there for the 2 outs.
I imagine this is a fun game for A.J. Brzezinski to work because of the movement, because of the command that Weber has. He worked for many years with Mark Burley, the left-handed pitcher for the White Sox, who has pinpoint control and doesn't throw hard either. So maybe some of those lessons for A.J. Brzezinski will help Weber tonight. Phillies strike first. No RBI for Altair on the double play, and now Howard hits and takes ball one low. As a hitter, what bothered you most, velocity or movement?
Oh, a guy with good command. Didn't matter which he had. He had good command, and he was hitting spots and working both sides of the plate and up and down. Those are the guys that drove you crazy. And if you could throw hard, that was another problem added on, but just start with the location. And you would hope that they would make a mistake. Leave a pitch up like he did to Herrera.
And into the shift, a bouncing ball right to Anderson Simmons. The long throw to first is in time, and Weber did a heck of a job. He had runners first and third with nobody out, and then got 2 ground outs to end the inning. It's 1-0 Phillies. Bottom part of the order is coming up for the Braves. It'll be Simmons, Bourne, and then the pitcher's spot. Andrew McClanahan was up and throwing for the Braves in the bullpen. We'll see if Weber's allowed to continue on tonight. And Simmons fouls that off himself at the plate. He's hobbling again. Thumb problems, ankle problems for the Braves shortstop.
It was his back foot. Bounced up and hit him in the shin, didn't it?
Looked like it.
Didn't it miss his foot first?
Tried the inside corner and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nola's first big league game is going to be an unforgettable one. He lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 1-0 in his first big league outing. Pitched a great game. But how he lost is one for the ages. He gave up a home run to Nathan Carnes, the Tampa Bay Rays pitcher. And that was the only run of the game. And a cue shot. Let's see how Simmons gets down the line. Pretty good shape. But Nola gets him for out number 1.
Yeah, and the thing about Nathan Carnes is I wonder how many at bats he got all year long,
right?
Playing in the National League.
That's more evidence we don't need the DH in that other league, Joe.
Exactly.
Michael Bourne, the 8th place hitter, threw a walk his first time up. Atlanta had a chance to score in the 2nd inning. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Then 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and couldn't get it done. Base hit. There we go, Michael.
A hole.
Well, guys, you mentioned Aaron Nola from LSU. Last year, 11-1, 1.47 ERA, 134 strikeouts, and 116 innings. LSU pitching coach Alan Dunn said he had the best fastball command he's ever seen. Doesn't sound like much, but then to qualify that, LSU grabbed Alan Dunn from the Baltimore Orioles, so he was including major league pitchers. Pretty darn impressive, showing that good fastball command tonight in almost 60 innings, only 15 walks.
And Paul, you mentioned Austin. That's his brother, right?
That is his brother, shortstop in the Miami Marlins organization. So he beats big brother to big leagues.
No balls at a strike. And I guess a real shock that a man whose last name is Nola ended up in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
A lot of strikes.
Well, Paul Bird knows all about those LSU boys.
0-1 the count. Bourne's running. Pitch out. Throw to second is awful. Herrera backed it up in center, however, and Bourne is in safely with a stolen base. His 3rd as a Brave.
Well, Rupp didn't short hop that one. Perfect pitch out and then a launch.
If second base was out there, Bourne would have been out by 20 feet.
Easily.
Right?
No way he could have stolen center.
So, even count with Bourne in scoring position.
Number 16 for Michael. So he gets to swing now, and they throw him a hook.
And another, and that's the 2nd out. 5 strikeouts for Nola, and Nick Markakis the batter. Let's see if he can solve Aaron Nola. He's struck out twice. Haven't seen that from Nick much at all.
No, the first time up, I mean, he got rung up on a pitch that was at least 6 inches outside, and then they got him to chase a couple of back foot breaking balls that were nowhere near the plate in his effort to get that runner in from 3rd base with 1 out. Nice change.
Austin tells us it's only the 14th time that Nick Markakis has struck out more than once in a game. First time since August 28th. No balls at a strike. Missed the fastball, even count. Really appreciate what Nick Markakis has done at the plate for the Braves this year. He's batted everywhere from 1st to 4th for Atlanta. Leads the team in hits. Scored 59 runs. He only struck out 75 times in his 530 at bats. High on base percentage at .372. That leads the team with more than 100 at-bats. He's really done great work
for a guy who didn't even have spring training.
Right. Which is why we're excited to see what he can do with an off-season of rest, the workouts, and spring training next year. 1-2 pitch is fisted towards second. Easy play, and that will retire the side. Nola has a shutdown inning. It comes in the top of the 5th inning. His Phillies lead 1-0.
CU-verse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
Beautiful City Hall here in downtown Philadelphia. Gorgeous night for baseball. It had a busy week here. They had a big concert down by the Art Museum, and in a couple of weeks, the Pope is coming to town. Everybody's fired up about that.
There will be a few people here for that.
Yes. And out of play by Andres Blanco, leading things off for the Phillies. Blanco bounced out to first with the pitcher covering.
Second time through the order, these left-handed hitters are not giving up on that pitch like they did the first time through. So a little reminder there. Keep him from hanging over the plate. He's throwing that curveball for strikes. That's outstanding.
Fly ball, well hit right. Markakis on the run, not going to get there. That's off the base of the fence. It ricochets oddly back out towards center. Bourne backed it up, but Blanco's going to end up at third base on a triple.
Another one that I think he tried to get to come in and come back, but it's coming back to too much of the plate, and they're getting the barrel to it. That was actually a good at bat by Blanco and a good swing, but it did stay in the ballpark. Maybe he can pitch around it.
That ball hit the fence and turned left. I mean, it ricocheted right along the warning track toward Michael Bourne. And by the time he tracked it down, Blanco was on his way to third base. Now Bogusevic hits. He rolled out to second. Infield comes in for Atlanta as Weber missed up and away. 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, that scoreboard's covered, I think, by chain link fencing, and if it hits that, it could go anywhere.
High hopper. Peterson can't make the play. Simmons did. Throw to first late. Run is in. It's 2-0. Infield hit for Bogusevic. He's got 2 RBIs in as many nights against Atlanta.
I couldn't believe Blanco wasn't running. We stood there and watched this until the throw went to first, and then he broke for home. I'm assuming Jace thought the only play he had was to barehanded and only had time to do that. By the time it got to Simmons, no chance.
So Ryan could use another ground ball here as Cameron Rupp hits. He's the catcher. He bounced out to first in the 3rd. Leadoff man on in back-to-back innings for the Phillies. Both of those men have scored to make it 2-zip. And fouled away.
I like what I see, though, from Ryan Weber, though. And as previously stated, he is throwing strikes. They've made adjustments. The Phillies have, the second time through the order.
One and two.
I was asking Ryan Kelly last night about Weber. They pitched together in AA and some in AAA too, and he said that one of the other things about his good stuff is that he's also smart. So if they're making adjustments on him, he'll be quick with AJ's help to try something different.
Sure Ryan liked the location of that pitch. It was fouled straight back.
Yeah, again on an 0-2 count or a 1-2 count. He wanted to make a better pitch than that.
Saw a little grimace as he looked back out towards center field, preparing for this pitch. Now it's 2-2. That ball kept chasing the Phillies hitter.
He changed his arm angle a little bit on that one and the pitch before. A little lower arm angle. Kind of pushed it in on him a little bit. A little more side arm.
Full count pitch. Bogusevic leads at first. He's not running, and the pitch is bounced towards Simmons. Tricky hop. Peterson stays with it and converts the double play. Easy for me to say. Atlanta doubling up the Phillies again. That's their second double play in as many innings.
Yeah, Anderson actually had that ball get in on his body a little bit, so he had a little trouble getting it over to Jace. But with the catcher running, they had time.
Anytime Everton Simmons is on your club, you figure your club will be in the hunt for the double play lead. And the Braves are second to Colorado. Michael Bourne handles that drive off the bat of Cody Ashe. And again, Weber does a terrific job of limiting the damage. He's down 2-0 now as we head to the 6th. That's our game summary brought to you by Mazda.
Well, each guy's given up 4 hits. It's just that the Phillies have put theirs together a little better, and they've had a couple of extra base hits, including that triple by Blanco last inning. 2-0 in Nola's favor, but so far I've been impressed with Weber's work.
Trivia time. Our AT&T Uvers trivia question. Odubel Herrera has a chance to finish the year with a 300 average and 15 or more steals. Name the last rookie to do that. We'll think about that a while as the Braves go to work in the 6th inning. Oliveira, Freeman, and A.J. Pierzynski are coming up. Nola's been very impressive tonight as well. And that one's through the hole on the left side. Oliveira has his first hit of the game. So the Braves put a leadoff man aboard. They've had at least 1 hit in each of the last 5 innings. And the right guy at the right time is up for the Braves. Freddie Freeman could tie it with 1 swing.
One thing that's working for Nola so far is getting ahead in the count. Coming into this inning, 16 of 19 and 10 in a row.
Freddie Freeman's been an on-base machine for the Braves. He's reached in 12 consecutive games, 12 hits, 14 walks in that stretch. He's hitless tonight, 0 for 2. And this one's popped up toward Bogusevic and left. Can of corn for him. He's got it. Back to first is Oliveira. 1 on, 1 out. Nola's been efficient. 68 pitches, as you see. And he'll face A.J. Pierzynski. A.J.'s 1 for 2 tonight. He now has a 7-game streak at the plate. Ground ball is going to sneak through the right side. Oliveira skipped the rope. He stands safely at second, and A.J.'s got 2 hits. Tying runs are on for the Braves.
He didn't try to do too much there. Might have even been a pitch away from him, running away from him, that he was going to try to make sure he tried to pull. And with the runner being held, a big hole over there, and a nice veteran at bat. Braves need to take advantage. They've had some chances already.
Nick Swisher singled in the second, fly to center in the fourth. All these opportunities, the Braves have gone 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight. You mentioned 4 for 10 last evening. 1 swing, though, could put Ryan Weber and the Braves in front. Bounding ball toward first, foul. And the count 1 ball, 1 strike. You'll recall the Braves got off to that great start. We're 42 and 42 at one point. That top number is a big part of that.
Sure was. And struggles since, especially in the last month. That's back-to-back changeups that were really good. Great difference between his fastball at 90 or 91 to his changeup at 81, and perfectly placed.
Foul back. A little more than a year ago, this kid was pitching in college. Now he's in the major leagues, and you wouldn't know that. Looks like he has a very good idea of how to pitch. And he's gotten ahead of Swisher. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That pitch is unhittable. I can't remember a right-handed pitcher giving the Braves left-handed batters as much trouble with a breaking ball like that all year long. Filthy pitch. 2 outs.
Really good. Really good to a hitter who's been barreling up everything and has been a tough out. Nick mad at himself for missing it.
So 6 strikeouts for Nola. 6th time he's gotten 6 or more strikeouts in his first 10 starts. He's ahead of Jace Peterson, who's 0 for 2.
Another first pitch strike. And not just on fastballs. He's using all his pitches on the first pitch.
Strike 2. And as a hitter, I'm sure it's horribly uncomfortable when there's no pitch you can eliminate at any count.
But 0-2, still got to look fastball.
Bouncing ball back to the mound, and somehow Nola found it. Remarkable play. 2 runs, 2 hits, no runs. 2 runs the lead for the Phillies. Home 6th coming up. Nothing Phillies. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Before Aaron Nola hits, let's check out our great clip of the game.
Nice reactions here on the comebacker. And the Braves leave 2 more. pretty good chance this will be Weber's last inning. He's due up third in the top of the 7th. He's pitched well. Hopefully can have a quick inning here.
Williams-Perez went 7 innings, allowing 2 runs last night. Weber's big league debut, allowed 2 runs, 4 hits, and he just struck out his mound opponent. So that's 2 strikeouts. He got Cody Ashe for his first big league strikeout in the 3rd inning. Nice start to the 6th for Weber, and we go back to the top of the order.
It's McKirahan. He's loosened up a couple of times and is ready to go. Hopefully won't be needed this inning.
Hernandez cracked a leadoff double in the 4th inning and scored on a double play. So he's got a 9-game hitting streak. And takes a ball low.
They only have 4 hits, but they've put them together nicely. And they were a leadoff double in the 4th that led to a run, and a leadoff triple in the 5th that led to a run.
Peterson to his right, slides to a stop on the grass and made a nice play.
That was not easy. Bit of an in-between hop that came up on him. His defense has gotten better and better all season long.
There's the second out. Here's Herrera. He's walked and he has singled.
First pitch is better than the second, but it gets called. Doubled up on the curveball. Love it. Try it again.
And that's bounced into the Phillies dugout. Velocity's fun to watch. The guys who can pitch and move the ball around, just as much fun. And Ryan Weber tonight has looked terrific. He's about to make his 74th major league pitch. And it's grounded to first. He has gotten a ton of ground balls. Freeman flips to him, and that's the inning.
Great
3
job.
up, 3 down. You're right. Welcome to the big leagues, Ryan Weber. Job well done. Now it's up to the Atlanta offense to break through in the 7th. Thursday, September 10th. Tickets are $20 each with $10 of added value included. You'll get to sit in the new college section. And on Thursday, if you're here early, you'll get a Julio Teheran bobblehead doll. Students also get to run the bases after the game. Don't miss out on these special nights at Turner Field. Go to Braves.com/college now. A lot of handshakes, smiles, pats on the back, and hugs for Ryan Weber in between innings.
Well deserved. Here's Todd Cunningham. I didn't know he was here.
He was called up just to give the Braves a little more outfield depth. Maybe a pinch runner late in the game. Andrelton Simmons leads off and cracks one foul out of play. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs earned for Weber, a walk, 2 strikeouts. 13 of his 18 outs came on the ground. He threw 74 pitches, induced 2 double plays. So the scouting report very accurate.
Yeah.
For Ryan Weber tonight. Slow roller out towards short. Throw to first in plenty of time. That gets Andrelton Simmons and out number 1.
One of the things about Aaron Nola that grabbed my attention today was that base is empty and out of the windup, very low batting average against, and then all of a sudden he gets in the stretch and things go maybe a little sideways. That has not been the case tonight. He's made real good pitches when the Braves have had men on base and in scoring position. They've left 6 already, 3 of those in scoring position, and he's been at his best in those spots tonight.
Another chance at short. Another long throw. Another easy out. And Todd Cunningham was on deck. Looks like he's going to be called back by Atlanta. And it'll be Daniel Castro pinch hitting. The 7th, 2-0 Phillies.
See another first pitch that was different. I mean, it was a breaking ball. Pinch hitter coming off the bench looking for that first pitch fastball to swing at. Nola drops a breaking ball on him.
And he's backed it up a lot tonight, too. Do another one. 0-2.
His 2 starts before the last one. I told you about the Mets really knocking him around. His 2 before that, he went 7 innings of 2-hit, 1-run ball against San Diego and picked up a win. And then at Miami, 8 innings of 3-hit shutout ball with 6 strikeouts and won that game 2-0. So he had pitched really well before the Mets touched him up on September 2nd.
And a fastball throws Castro, an 8-pitch inning and a new career high 7 strikeouts for Aaron Nola. 7th inning stretch. He leads the Braves 2-0.
Toyota key plays. Guys, he's got a quality start. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, only 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. But I am seeing a good foot of movement on this fastball, which I wasn't ready for. I agree with Copy, but I've got to upgrade him from a poor man's Chris Medlin to a poor man's Greg Maddux. Look at the comebacker right there. Terzinski coaching him through. As you see it, 2 strikeouts, 13 ground outs, 2 flyouts. And guys, I was over in the family section talking to Butch Weber and Mary Weber, who were in Gwinnett. They both cried upon the call-up. And to pile on to what Joe said, this young man is a great story. Bel Air Country Club, where he worked the cash register, which plays along with what you guys were talking about, him being a smart pitcher.
Nicely done. Andrew McCurahan takes over in relief for Ryan Weber.
How about this, Paul? 18 outs recorded, 13 thanks to ground balls, including the 2 double plays, 2 strikeouts, 2 flyouts, and then AJ helped him out throwing out that other base runner. But 13 of 18.
Altair right back through the box has a leadoff single in the Phillies 7th.
Game for McCurahan. His last outing at Washington 5 days ago. Did not record an out. 3 hits. No, that's not true. He did, because he had a strikeout. 3 hits and 2 runs.
Lefties, righties, doesn't matter right now for Andrew. He's having trouble getting out anybody. Explain the numbers after Howard digs in. He's 0 for 2. McCurahan's allowing lefties to hit him at a 292 clip. 14 hits in 48 at bats. Righties 386. He's ahead of Howard quickly. No balls, 2 strikes. Bit of a bone of contention for some in Philadelphia. One thing Pete Mackanin has said, he will not, generally speaking, pinch hit for Ryan Howard against left-handed pitching. He respects him too much. However, that's really limited pinch hit opportunities for guys like Jeff Francoeur, who've worn out lefties all year long.
And with an expanded September roster, other guys to pick from. But right now, Ryan Howard is 0 for his last 23, lefties or righties, mostly righties.
Howard's hitting a .135 against lefties this year. Striking out once every 3 at bats or so. One ball, 2 strikes. And Howard is down swinging. McCurahan got him. Howard wants to know if it was a strike. The result certainly was, and there's out number 1, and Howard hears it from the small crowd.
I don't think it was a strike, and didn't appear to be. Good job by Andrew.
Now Blanco will turn around and bat right-handed. He's tripled and scored today. And yanked into the Braves dugout, foul, strike 1. Blanco has been around a while. He is 31 years old now. He's played in the big leagues with the Royals, the Cubs, the Rangers, and in his second season with the Phillies organization. to center field, a base hit. Altair will stop at second. Bogusevic is due. Looks like he's going to be called back. And the Phillies will go to their bench now. Darnell Sweeney, man acquired for Chase Utley.
One of those guys I was talking about called up. September call up. I'll find out if he can play, what he can do.
And now that Sweeney's announced, Freddie Gonzalez makes his way to the center of the diamond. Andrew McCurahan's struggles continued tonight. He gave up 2 hits to the 3 hitters he faced, and the Braves go deeper into their bullpen, down 2-0 on the road.
One of the things we noticed in the dugout after Ryan Weber came out was this segment right here. And Paul Bird, one of the things it looked like to me that AJ was saying that if you want to throw that backup pitch in there for outs, one of the things to do instead of throwing it down low was to come up, maybe let her high. And AJ demonstrates right here what you've got to do as a hitter. If it's up, you've got to bend your elbow to try to get that barrel of the bat to the pitch. Would you agree that that's something he was maybe suggesting for the next time around? Thank you, Paul.
Little technical problems with Paul's mic. We'll get his answer in a second.
Oh, but it's not a battery thing again.
Oh, no. Hope not.
He's got a pocket full of them.
Dan Barawa's on the pitch, and the first one lined to Oliveira. And that's the second out of the inning. Great thing about having a guy like A.J. Brzezinski on your club is it's not just Roger McDowell who can talk to a pitcher about those kinds of things. A.J. can talk to it from a catcher's perspective, from a hitter's perspective, and from a guy who's been in the major leagues as long as he has.
Well, but it goes back to, if that indeed was what he was talking about, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that they were making adjustments the second time through the order where they weren't giving up on that pitch. The left-handed hitters weren't. And they were able to get the barrel on some.
Cameron Rupp is the batter. 2 outs, 2 on. And that got AJ flush.
Catcher to catcher, checking on him. Side of the mask.
Ooh.
And shoulder. Big at bat right here. They've got 2 on, 2 out. Keep it a 2-run deficit.
That's swept off the plate nicely. 0-2 the count.
Yeah, Barawa's had a couple of really nice outings. Had a rough one at Washington and then bounced back 2 days later, still in Washington, an inning and 2/3, zeros across with a strikeout. Had 4 strikeouts in 2 innings in his debut with the Braves.
And he came in and put out the fire nicely. A soft line out and a strikeout sends our game to the 8th inning, where the top of the order is coming up. Nice job by Dan Barawa in the 7th. Weekend matchups against the Mets, these Phillies, and the St. Louis Cardinals. We have Friday night fireworks and kids run the bases on Sundays. The weekend's a great time to catch a game with us. Go to Braves.com/tickets and plan your visit to Turner Field tonight. Back to our AT&T Universe trivia question. Tough one tonight. Odubel Herrera has a chance to finish the year with a 300 or better average and 15 or more stolen bases. Name the last rookie to do that.
Mike Trout.
I'm going to ride your coattails and see if it is Mike Trout. It is.
I was in their notes today. I read it. felt pretty good about it.
So Mike Trout is the answer. Wholesale changes for the Phillies as we head to the 8th inning. Freddie Galvis has taken over at shortstop. Blanco has moved to third base. Luis Garcia is the pitcher. And ripped foul right out of play to the left side. Darnell Sweeney stays in the game. He'll play left.
Luis Garcia, been a good setup man for him all year long. Almost a strikeout per inning pitched. High 90s fastball and a slider.
Braves will see a lot of high 90s stuff the last 2 innings. Ken Giles is their closer. And he took over when Jonathan Papelbon was traded to the Nationals, who are winning big tonight, by the way. 7-1 over the Mets. That was the game started by Matt Harvey. He got off to an awful start. The Nationals just put up 4 runs to take that 6-run lead. Inside out swing, and that one is going to be dumped into center field by Nick Markakis. Leadoff hit for Atlanta.
All right, get something going.
Couldn't do anything with Aaron Nola. 7 shutout innings, 6 hits, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. He only threw 85 pitches. Amazing how good pitching is when you don't see many walks.
Yeah.
And 1, make that 2 combined from the starters tonight. Oliveira has a hit. That was a 6th inning safety. And up and away. Ball 1.
Had him moving away from that breaking ball.
That's driven foul out of play. Cubs are in St. Louis tonight. Think they're trying to make a statement to the Cardinals? Wow. Beat them 9-0 last night. They've jumped in front 6-0 after 2 innings tonight. One ball, 2 strikes. Nice stop by Rupp. Dexter Fowler hit a leadoff homer for Chicago last night. He's been playing great for the Cubs. The Atlanta native probably had a hand in their early start in St. Louis tonight. Pirates are winning 5-0 in Cincinnati. The Central race may tighten dramatically tonight.
Another good stop by Rupp. Tell you what, it's got to be a pretty wild bounce to get by that big guy. What'd you say last night? 260?
Yeah, 260, 265. Big hombre. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Oliveira will take a base on ball. So a promising inning begins for the Braves. Garcia in immediate trouble. A hit and a walk brings up Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman, and he's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot feature.
Let's hope he hits the jackpot right here. His last 10 games against the Phillies, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, and a .375 average. Half of those are multi-hit games. Looking for his first hit tonight, but he's hit a couple of balls hard. 1 to first and 1 to left. Got the right guys up there right now. Bob McClure is the pitching coach. If they'd let him work a third of an inning, I guarantee he'd pick somebody off. He had a great move.
So the stage is set for the heart of the Braves order. Freeman, Przinsky, and Swisher. Ken Giles has gotten up for the Phillies in the 8th. He may have to come on earlier than anticipated. Swing and a miss. 15,610 the announced attendance at Citizens Bank tonight. Markakis and Oliveira lead at second and first, and here it comes. Too tight. Even count.
Freddie keeps walking into that, though, that inside pitch. They make a mistake out over the plate. Look out.
That's low. Dalier Hinojosa has joined Giles in the Phillies bullpen. Oh, he didn't want to swing at that. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That hurt. That hurt something. It's just like everything they're throwing in on Freddie, he's trying to go after it. And he's tying himself up. There's no reason to swing at those pitches.
Grabbed the left leg after that swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And they went in there again and missed. So it's a full count.
Having some success in. I'd be surprised if they try to go away.
They went down and in, and Freeman checked his swing, but he's called out on strikes.
I thought he went. You could see Rupp really urging him to throw that ball and to make a good pitch with it, and he did. He went.
So big first out for Garcia. That brings up AJ, who's 2 for 3, 2 singles tonight.
Hope Freddie didn't hurt himself on that one swing.
He's had the oblique problem, the wrist problem, and again, it looked like he was reaching for upper part of his left leg after that first awkward swing. Big spot in the game for Przinsky. He's done great work behind the plate. 2 hits at the plate. Our third would put the Braves on the board here. We're down 2-0. AJ has seen Garcia before. 1 at bat, 1 career hit. Slow roller back to the mound. Only 1 play. It's to first, and Howard stretches up to make the play. Markakis to third, Oliveira to second. Nick Swisher is the hitter with runners at second and third now.
Thought he was about to throw that away. When he let go of it, it looked like it was going to be too high.
So now for Swisher, a single could tie the game. With men at second and third base.
Took everything for Ryan Howard's 6'4" reach to get.
And is that going to be the end of the line for Garcia? It appears to be the case. And Jeff Francoeur is going to come into the game defensively for the Phillies. Ken Giles was up. Hinojosa was up. We'll see who comes in for the Phillies, who try to protect a 2-run lead in the 8th inning. 2 on, 2 out, 2-run game. We'll see what happens when we come right back.
And Georgia Power.
2 on, 2 out, 2-0 Phillies. Braves continue to bat in the top of the 8th inning. Let's take a look at our DirecTV standings. The National League East race is up to the minute. At the moment, Washington is 5 games behind the Mets, but Joe, they are winning big tonight at home in Game 2 of that huge 3-game series.
Yeah, the win by the Mets last night, though, assured the Mets of losing no more than 1 game in that series in the standings. So it looks like there'll be a rubber game tomorrow.
Jeff Francoeur checks in to play right field. He'll hit 9th. Ken Giles is on to pitch.
Unbelievable numbers for this guy. He's 11 for 11 in saves since they traded Papelbon, and he has 16 strikeouts and 1 walk in those 11 games. He throws 96 to 99 with a slider and has to get an extra out tonight.
Told this is the first time Giles has pitched in the last 8 games the Phillies have played. So not many opportunities for him. Maybe he's got some rust to deal with. Braves have the tying runs on late. And he missed low. Ball 2.
Five games against Atlanta this year. Has not allowed a run. 10 games in his career, no runs allowed.
Well, he's about to have the bases loaded. He just missed badly in the dirt. 3 balls, no strikes. Jace Peterson is waiting on deck, and you know how much we like seeing him hit with the bases loaded.
Bases loaded machine. Took a little off at 98 to get one in there.
And they are loaded for Peterson. So now it gets real interesting for Atlanta. Jace is 0 for 3 tonight. And with the bases loaded this season, he's an incredible 9 for 14 and 22 RBIs. As we told you, Todd Cunningham added to the roster today. He will indeed come on to pinch run for Swisher. And there's a rare walk from Giles. And Peterson's in the batter's box. Bases loaded, 2 outs. He almost threw that to the screen. Ball 1.
I'd say he is a little rusty. Last appearance was on the 5th at Boston, 2/3 of an inning, but that was the only game he was in on their entire road trip.
6 pitches, only 1 strike so far for Giles.
And that was the first walk he's issued in his last, and this his 12th appearance since taking over the role.
Broken bat pop right to the shortstop, and that will retire the side. The Braves have had some chances tonight, but have not yet broken through. It's 2-0 Phillies in the home 8th. of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #SouthDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by our friends at T-Mobile.
KG at Alpharetta Guy, thank you. Nice pick. Turner Field special.
So it's going to be Ashe, then Francoeur. Excuse me, not Ashe, beg your pardon. That's going to be Freddie Galvis. Came in for the Phillies. Galvis, then Francoeur to start the 8th inning for Philadelphia. They're looking for insurance. They lead by 2. And a bouncing ball just foul at first. One ball, one strike. Todd Cunningham's in left for Atlanta. Galvis had a hit here last night. He has 22 hits this season against Braves pitching.
Good job in the 7th inning by Barawa with the soft liner to third and the strikeout. Kept the lead at 2.
Full count now.
About that pitch, 3-1.
Galvis still alive, as are the Mets. They've loaded the bases in the 7th inning against Washington, 7-2 at Nationals Park. It's 2-0 Phillies. Single runs in the 4th and 5th. Brian Weber pitched great in his debut tonight. And that's lifted toward Cunningham and left. He'll drift back, and he has it. 1 out. Jeff Francoeur may have found himself a home with the Phillies. He's done an excellent job for them all year long. .267 average. He's 11 for 23 as a pinch hitter with 11 RBIs, including a homer. And a big swing and a miss. Sounds strange to say, the Phillies now all of a sudden become a very young team. Jeff, one of the veterans on their club. Still swinging very hard.
A couple of good sliders there.
Four of his 6 homers have come in the 8th inning or later for Jeff. And this is not just a one-off run for him. Last month or so of games, last 32 games, hitting .312. He's a nasty right-hander out of the bullpen, too. 1-2 pitch is poked into center field. He went down and combed that into the outfield. Another pinch hit for Jeff Francoeur.
Well, that's an area, that's a pitch that he's obviously improved on. That was a place for pitchers to go to get him, was down and away. And somehow he reached that.
Jeff's talked before about how Charlie Manuel's really helped him. Former Phillies manager, an excellent hitting instructor, and now an advisor with Phillies. So Jeff aboard. Cesar Hernandez in the box, and he strokes one towards Simmons. Diving stop, can't get it out of his glove, and all hands are safe. He was ready to start a circus act double play, but no such luck. An infield hit, and all hands are safe.
I couldn't tell how that ball got that far away from him. Hard hit. Had it in the glove. When he reached in, he missed it. He reached in the glove while he was looking at Jace and didn't get the baseball.
He's mad too. Not a play that young man doesn't think he can make. Unfortunately for Barala, he couldn't. And now Herrera hits with 2 on and 1 out. Back to the screen. Good cut. Strike 1.
Get in the box. Takes this guy about 30 seconds to make sure that everything's right.
Barala's going to make Herrera wait. He went. Nothing in 2.
Boy, I don't know how he got a piece of that. That was almost dirt high. Not a whole lot unlike what Francoeur did. But Jeff able to line it to center.
Missed inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That was a good spot, though. Good try. If that had been where AJ was set up, he might have gotten a call.
He spoiled another pitch. Herrera's just 23 years old, out of Zulia, Venezuela. Was in the Texas Rangers system for a long time. Phillies got him in the Rule 5 draft after last season. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Say go in again.
Uh-oh, high fly ball deep right. Herrera's just hit a big 3-run homer. Quite a battle. In a double, Herrera's got a 2-hit night. He just hit his 8th home run, and he just broke the game open.
slider that was supposed to be a backdoor slider, but it was down and over the plate. He golfed it out. He's having himself quite a rookie season. After a bunch of good pitches to get ahead in the count, couldn't make that good one to finish him.
Prep volleyball star in Venezuela, Herrera just spiked the Braves and made it a 5-run game. And Aaron Altair hits with the bases empty. 3 runs across for the Phillies. Altair singled last time up. And that missed outside. Atlanta's bullpen is busy again. Browers had to work overtime. The last 2 outs in the 7th. Got the first out in the 8th. Francoeur, Hernandez, and Herrera all have hits. Meanwhile, in Washington, the Mets have a big inning working. They're down a run all of a sudden. It's 7-6 Washington in the 7th. If the Nationals lose that one, what a crushing blow that would be. And that's ball 4 outside. Might have to go get Barawa, and Freddie Gonzalez is on his way out of the dugout. So Barawa has allowed 4 consecutive base runners with 1 out in the 8th inning. A big home run for the Phillies makes it 5-zip. Pennsylvania 2 in theaters September 25th. 5-0 Phillies lead, 1 on, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. And fans, the most popular way to follow the action of Braves baseball is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, statcasts, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at bat app now.
Beautiful fountain.
Yeah, we walked by that fountain today on the way to the Philadelphia Art Museum. Gretchen Caney of our crew was really fired up to run up the stairs at the Art Museum to stand next to the Rocky statue, only to find that, as would be her luck today, the stairs were closed. There's the statue. And they moved it. It's not at the top of the staircase either. They moved it down to one of the sidewalks. As Detweiler's on for the 23rd time this year.
He's given up runs in each of his last 4 outings. 2 against the Yankees, 2 against the Nationals.
In this 5-0 game, the positive for the Braves was Ryan Weber. He looked terrific in his first big league assignment. Oliveira got on base a couple of times. A.J. Brzezinski 2 more hits. Nick Swisher reached twice. But the bugaboo for the Braves tonight, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and then the big Odubel Herrera homer here in the 8th inning. Howard skies that one out of play. Big man at first for the Phillies is a big unanswered question for the Phillies. What will be the fate of Ryan Howard? Will he be with his club next year? Will they be able to move him the final year of his deal? Will that man get a chance to manage this team on a full-time basis? Pete Buchanan is the interim manager. Nothing promised him at the end of the year. As ground ball hit into the shift. There's one. And Simmons, the throw to first in time, will retire the side. Philly gets 3 in the 8th inning. They expand their lead. It is now 5-0 as we go to the 9th. For the Braves, the Philly starter is a little more seasoned and was a little more effective.
Aaron Nola was outstanding again against the Braves. 2 runs in 5 innings back on August 1st. No runs in 7 innings tonight. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts.
And by seasoned, I mean he's pitched 10 big league games. Ryan Weber pitched his first tonight, and that continues a long line of terrific success by men making their debut as starters for the Braves. That's Zaxby's indescribably good play.
Absolutely. They all certainly accounted for themselves in a good way when they took them out for the first time in the big leagues. And Ryan Weber,
We're having trouble.
Did the same.
Having trouble with names in this town,
oh,
are we?
Baby.
As Giles starts the 9th inning. Drew Storen just issued a 4-pitch walk with the bases loaded to bring home Cespedes for the Mets, and New York has tied the game 7-7 in the 7th.
You know what is going through Andrelton's mind is that ground ball that he was not able to corral and what he thought might start a double play last inning. That will eat at him.
He's 1 for 3 tonight. And a bouncing ball toward third. For first and plenty of time. There's out number 1. Braves country, have you gotten your tour championship tickets yet? If not, now's your chance. Get a Braves Field Reserve ticket for any remaining game this year, and Saturday Tour Championship Grounds passes for only $89. That's a savings of 34%. Go to Braves.com/PGA for more information. Michael Bourne's reached base twice. He's walked, he's singled, he's stolen a bag, and is 1 for 2 in the game. He didn't like that call, but it's been a pitcher's strike zone from the opening bell. We talked about that when Nick Markakis was up to begin the game. Shouldn't be any surprises at this point. And he's rung up. 2 out. The Braves need something big to happen to avoid being shut out. The Braves have been shut out 13 times. 8 of those times have come on the road. And it's up to Pedro Siriaco to keep it alive.
Seems like it's always up to Pedro.
Yeah.
2 out in the ninth.
Right. And the busiest pinch hitter for the Braves this year. 2 outs, bases empty, and a strike. Restoring got out of it. We got Travis d'Arnaud to fly out to right to end the inning. The Mets, though, have tied the Nationals 7-7 in a huge game that got Matt Harvey off the hook. No balls and a strike.
That was nasty. At 87.
And pulled foul. And out of play. It's 0-2.
That reminds me kind of Brad Lidge. Fastball, slider. Lidge threw a lot more sliders than Giles has to.
And that's your ball game. Phillies have shut out the Braves. 5-0 the final score. The Braves are shut out for a 14th time this season. Giles picks up his 12th save in a briskly played 2-hour and 30-minute affair here at Citizens Bank Park. Ryan Weber made his big league debut. That's the bright spot for the Braves. And we'll have the rubber game of the series here tomorrow.